my buddy from NFL Game Day Morning that goes on the air at 6 a.m. local time here on Sunday morning, 9 o'clock a.m. East Coast time, and then goes for 8.5 hours. My goodness. Steve Mariucci, tape your ankles for that broadcast, as you would say.
This is like Mondays with Mooch on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, good to see you. This is a home game for you. This is a home game for you.
I just drove from home.
Did you really?
Yeah. Oh, it's 50 miles away.
Did you drive yourself?
No. Your guy drove me. He knew the way.
All right.
Is this gorgeous or what?
It's beautiful.
Oh.
It's beautiful. Just the weather's been really, knock on whatever this is.
For a year or whatever,
yes,
we've been worried about El Nino, right?
Yes.
El Nino didn't show up.
Right now the
got.
football gods are kicking El Nino's ass up and down the field right now.
Amazing. It's supposed to be 70 degrees for this game. Are you kidding me?
Is it really what it's supposed to be?
That's what it says. That's what they say.
Now we just ruined it, right?
Did I jinx it?
I think we may have.
All right.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
So what do we want to talk about here, Steve? Do we want to talk about the game? Do we want to talk about Jim Harbaugh crushing it with his signing class? Moments ago, during my conversation with Dan Marino, news broke that Michigan got some kid you know.
Yeah,
tell me about
kid by the name of Rashawn Gary.
Yes.
So I know the kid. I don't know him personally because he played on the other team. I coached the Under Armour game, right?
Okay, yes.
Under Armour All-American guys, and these kids are the cream of the crop, and they're going to wherever they want to go.
This is about 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
In Florida.
Yeah, so he's on the other team, and we couldn't block this kid.
Really?
Rich, we couldn't block this kid, so we had to keep a back in, and he's all over the place. And they had a bunch of guys, too, that were good.
Yeah.
They kind of load up that team for Herm Edwards. But anyway.
Well, it was on ESPN, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was on NFL Network, you would have
and
Rashawn
Dion
Gary
and I,
and
we got LeVar Arrington, we got NFL
right.
Network guys on our team, and it's ESPN over there, right?
Look out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, he committed to Michigan. At least Harbaugh, he didn't sleep with that guy, his family, but he's done some of that stuff.
Well, who did Harbaugh go and hang out with? And
Quinn Nordin was the #1 kicker recruit in the country who committed to Penn State.
And then
his
what happened?
video where he committed, he was on a private jet, a little bougie for Penn State. Harbaugh slept over at his house, and
what is that?
He went to Harbaugh. He's now at Michigan. He
Is
committed
that
to
legal?
Michigan.
You can sleep.
You tell me.
Stay over?
You coached across the bay here at Cal.
He did a lot of crazy things this
He
year.
climbed a tree.
Well, today there is the signing day, signing with the stars at Hill Auditorium on the campus of Ann Arbor, where they sold out all the tickets for Chad Tuff. They're giving all the money away to to the organization, the charitable organization, chadtuff.org, by the way, for Lloyd Carr's grandson who passed away with brain cancer. And Jeter's there.
Brady?
And Tom Brady is there today. They just tweeted out video of the two of them hanging out together.
Ric Flair was there, and Lou
Why is
Holtz.
Jeter there? He didn't go to Michigan.
Yes, he did.
Huh?
He did.
For how long?
Jeter went to Michigan for a little bit longer than Belichick was coach of the Jets. It was just a couple of days. It was, and he did not sign on a cocktail napkin. I'm going to be the SS of the NYY, and then hand it in to the provost. Now, he was there for a cup of coffee, Jeter. But he's a Michigan guy.
I know he.
You got to use whatever you can use, right, Steve?
He's from Kalamazoo.
Right.
That's not the UP though.
I know that. That's real Michigan. Is that what you're saying? That's real Michigan, the Upper Peninsula?
Yes, that's God's country.
I love it.
I got a recruiting story. You want to hear a recruiting?
Please.
You think Harbaugh's crazy. So I'm recruiting, right, for Cal. Is that fire real?
It is definitely not real.
So I'm
It's a television set, Steve.
I'm recruiting back in Minnesota, and it's like January, all right? And it's snow, and it's cold, and everything like that.
This is when you were the HC of Cal. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, so we're sitting around at a home visit, right? Family visit.
Yeah.
So the kids there, the mom and dad, little sisters are there, grandparents are there, and we're just kind of having hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, we're talking about, let's go to Cal, it's a great school, the best in the world, and all that stuff.
Yes.
And so when you sit there for several hours, sometimes the conversation's good, and sometimes it drags, all right? So it started to drag, and I was running out of things to say, if you can imagine that.
Yeah, right.
And so it was snowing out, and it was cold, and it was cool. It was just awesome being in there, And there was a cat sitting over by the fireplace, right?
Like this fire.
Just like this fire. Only it was a real fire, Rich.
Yeah.
And it was a cat, and it was all curled up, and it looked so cozy, so awesome.
Yeah.
And then conversation was dragging a little bit, and I went, wouldn't you just love to be that cat right now? and everybody looked at the cat, and just as everybody looked, it rolled over and started licking himself all over the place. It was like, Grandma looked at me like, what? I didn't get that kid, all right? It didn't go well after that.
Kind of went downhill.
Oh yeah, but that cat.
Oh my gosh.
That cat just kind of screwed me over a little bit. I mean, it's like timing is
looked
everything.
like it was screwing itself over from what you're telling me.
Cozy for a while.
So, and how did your conversation go with a particular tight end on campus at that moment who was also playing basketball and was thinking of leaving?
So
how
Tony,
did that?
we talking about Tony Gonzalez?
You show up at Cal, right? And Tony Gonzalez is getting ready to leave early, right? To go into the draft? Is that what happened?
Tony was, when I got there, was a sophomore.
Okay.
So Tony played for me as a junior.
He did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
He was pretty good, Rich.
Yeah.
And he was playing basketball, too. He was
with Jason Kidd, I think, right? Was that, or was it he predated Jason? After.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But he was the sixth man, but he was good. They went to the Sweet 16. They had a good team. And he was the All-American kid, Tony Gonzalez from Southern California. And then you know, agents just start jumping on him to come out early. Well, I hated guys coming out early because I was selfish. I wanted to keep him, so I was recruiting him constantly to stay. I need you, Tony, you know.
What happened?
He came out. He played pretty well, didn't he? But I kept saying, Tony, you're not ready yet.
You're ready. Please.
I had to say anything I could.
Please, just to keep him there. I got Steve Mariucci here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what do you think of this game, Steve? First blush, here we are. It's now 5 days away. Cam versus this Denver defense. This Denver defense just did what it did to Brady. What do you think about that matchup alone?
You know, I start thinking about this matchup, and Carolina's defense is very good, just like Denver defense is. Statistically, Denver's #1 and all that baloney, but Carolina's great on defense. So what we have is a Super Bowl of two great defensive teams against the leading scoring team and a Peyton Manning-led team that was 2 years ago set all kinds of records in the NFL as far as being efficient on offense. But you remember what happened last time this #1 offense played against a good defense, right? And Seattle just clobbered. And I hope it's a good game. I hope it goes down to the wire.
You think it's going to be a blowout? I'm
thinking
now.
If Carolina gets off to a fast start like they have, heck, they were up 31-0 against Seattle. They were up at halftime.
Yes, they
24-7 at halftime against Arizona.
But they were home. This is neutral site.
Yeah, this is almost home. I mean, you're going to have a bipartisan crowd here. It's not going to, you know, it'll be fine. This is a scary team. They get off. Here's what happens. This offense with Cam is so different than playing against Brady's offense or some other drop back, you know, typical pro offenses.
Yes.
It's hard to simulate in practice how fast this is going to be with all those zone reads and all of that stuff. That's the problem with college teams, pro teams, when you have a different kind of an offense showing up to simulate that in practice and get ready for it.
Yeah, Osweiler is apparently playing the role of Cam this week.
Yeah, well, fine. I mean, but still, it's scout team. It's off cards. It's like, just try to do this. You know what I mean? It's not the same.
Right.
And so Denver, the great defense has to weather that storm early, because if Carolina gets out in front, I'm afraid it's going to not end well.
So coming out first quarter, fans are watching this game, and Denver gets a couple 3-and-outs. That's what they need to see.
Yeah.
Bronco fans need
They
to
need
see
to
a
see
3-and-out.
some 3-and-outs.
In
they
the
need
first
to
quarter.
see Peyton start the game like he did against New England, go right down the field methodically.
What are the odds of that happening? Yeah, there you go. You know, we had Ronnie Lott on in the first hour, and he says this as soon as he's walking off the set, which is one of those kick me moments as a host, like, you know, if I wish you'd said this with your microphone on. He said people don't talk about Luke Kuechly enough, and said that Kuechly is so good. Kuechly reminds Lott of Mike Singletary.
Yeah,
That's what
that's a
Ronnie
good analogy
Lott
with Ronnie,
said.
yeah. Because here's what's going to, I wish CBS,
America's Most Watched Network. Yes.
would put a split screen on Peyton Manning and Luke Kuechly before the snap.
Okay.
Because Peyton's going to be doing his Peyton Manning thing with audibling and getting to the right play and sometimes changing it, sometimes bluffing it. Just, you know what I mean? Omaha stuff. And then you're going to have Kuechly, who's the quarterback of the defense, who's responsible for get us in the right call. If you think Peyton knows we're blitzing and he checks, you check.
Right.
It's going to be a chess match that way. And Kuechly, you know, Boston College guy, right?
Yes.
He was the smartest guy on that team. I believe he had the highest GPA on that team, and he's an All-American kid. He's a great kid and a great player. We all know that.
Yes.
But it's he against Peyton Manning mentally in this game. That's going to be an awesome.
That's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, that's going to be fun to watch because Peyton doesn't do as much from the shotgun every single play. You know, he's going to be more in the huddle, more under the center, but he still has the liberty to check every play if he chooses.
I think that I'm wondering what C.J. Anderson and/or Hillman are going to have a role in this one, Steve, because David Johnson had a pretty good game in the NFC Championship game. Now, they're different. He's a different running back than those two guys, but there may be some yards on the ground available here for Denver, and that would help slow down whatever rush is coming. And Manning's ability, as you said, in this moment with Kuechly and him going back and forth with these last minutes, if he gets them in the right plays, the right run plays, I mean, that's something to keep an eye out.
Since Peyton's been back, a lot of his audibles have been 2 runs.
We saw that
away from blitz.
We saw that in that Week 17 game he came in against San Diego. Then all of a sudden, you know, Hillman and Anderson are
He
running
only completed 5 passes in that game, and he was
Right.
brilliant because he was checking to the right run plays. You know, you don't just check the pass plays.
Right.
And so he was brilliant doing that. He will do some of that. It'll depend on what the score is. You know what I mean? If it's pass situation all the time because Carolina's winning, then the running backs will have some draws and traps available to them. But if it's a tight game, whew.
I'm loving this chat. I'm getting fired up for the game.
This is such a great game. You know, all the Super Bowls, you know, you say, oh, it's a great game. But this one has got so many storylines with these 2 great defenses, these 2 polarizing quarterbacks that are just at different ends of their careers.
Yes.
And right here in San Francisco, the city by the bay, this is the greatest city in the world, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
And this is good stuff.
I just can't look at this, you know, fake fire behind me anymore the same way after your recruiting
You should
story,
put a little
Steve.
cat over there.
I got But that is one of the best stories. Can you stick around for one more segment?
Yeah.
Can you do that? We might even take a phone call. 844-204-RICH. We'll hook you up with Steve Mariucci, and then Kurt Warner's right behind. Maybe we can have a show meeting for Sunday for game day morning.
Let's do it.
We'll get Marshall and Irvin coming in here.
See if Kurt shows up on
Call him.
time.
We'll have a show meeting. Steve Mariucci here on the Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH. Call us. We'll have a chat between you and Steve Mariucci. Fun show, man. Brandon Marshall was on in hour number 1, and a reminder that Brandon is taking over Audience Sports social channels with an inside look at this week's hottest events, including Dan's show, Joe Buck's Undeniable with Joe Buck Show, and this show as well. Follow Brandon and Audience Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Steve Mariucci still here. Your Twitter account's got a great photograph of you and your lovely wife, Gail. From last night. Where was this, in San Jose? Is that where this was?
Yeah, so you're looking at it?
I'm looking at it. We'll put it up on the screen in a second here for the television audience. Hashtag Football Camp for Stars.
Well,
what is this about,
the Football
Steve?
Camp for the Stars is a football camp for Down syndrome kids. And me and my family and our foundation been in
Mariucci Family Foundation.
Yes, for 9 years, and we've been doing this at Valley Christian High School in San Jose. Well, Special Olympics is adding flag football to their list of sports. You know how they just added bocce ball a few years ago, okay? And so they're going to add flag football, so they asked us to help kick it off. The 49ers are involved, of course, Valley Christian High School, Football Camp for the Stars. So we did a clinic, they're tackling dummies and different things, and then we played a game, and I got a ref. Mike Carey helps me ref those games each year,
Yes.
you know, when we have our thing in the summer. But it was special. It's awesome. It gives the kids one more sport to participate in Special Olympics of Northern California, and it's going to spread to Southern California. Every region is a little different. They can choose to add it or not. But you know, I think with the NFL support, you know, flag football is becoming huge.
Sure.
And then Special Olympics flag football will become huge too.
MariucciFamilyFoundation.org. You can follow him on Twitter at MariucciFamily. Right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let me take a phone call as I promised. Let's go to New York City. John in New York City. You're on with Steve Mariucci here on the Rich Eisen Show. John?
Rich, the set looks unbelievable.
Thanks,
Would you leave $100 for Dan Patrick's set? I mean, compared to, I love Dan and all, but Dan needs a little love too. That set is off the chart.
Well, look,
Seriously.
John, you're not going to get me into an audience network war with DP. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to drag me into the mud here, John. We're all. Yeah, it's $100 is what I left over there
anyway,
for Dan.
I want to talk about Cam.
Yes, please.
Because you made a great analogy of that. He is Magic Johnson. He's always smiling. He's always positive. He's had his pitfalls. He's learned from them.
Yep.
And he's going to will his team to win. I make the analogy like when Auburn played Oregon in that national championship game, he was the best player on the field. Almost like when that great game between Texas and USC, who had the best player on the field that day? Texas did, and Vince Young. You know what I'm saying? So that's what stands out to me. I don't see his receivers being so great, and his defense is good, but he wills his team to win. And I just can't see Peyton. Peyton has to play a flawless game, and it kind of will be this. It reminds me of the Broncos of the late '90s that won the 2 Super Bowls. That if they do win, it won't be because of Peyton, but Peyton cannot throw an interception. Absolutely not.
John, I appreciate your call, and I appreciate you watching the show on Audience or AT&T, however you're watching it on Uverse, and I appreciate your kind words. And we had this conversation with Terrell Davis yesterday, and others, remarkable how, Elway and Kubiak essentially said, here's the deal, Peyton. This is how we did it back to get me, the trophy. Let's do it the same way. And it may just work out, despite all the conversations that we had on game day morning all year long about whose offense is it, who really is running this team, et cetera, Steve. It's unbelievable.
After the Broncos got beat down 2 years ago in the Super Bowl with a great offense, Elway learned from his dad about how to put a team together.
Jack.
And Jack was a coach and a scout, and he was great. And boy, did he put a team together. What did he do? He got better on defense. He spent a lot of free agent money, and here they are now. They're a tougher team than they were. Not a finesse team, but a tougher team. And this is the way to go. Peyton's probably not equipped to throw the ball 50 times a game and rest on his arm and his brain to win games. This team is built for a young quarterback. This team, we always say a young quarterback's best friend is what? Great defense and a run game.
Yes.
Well, that's how this team is built. And not that Peyton's a young quarterback, but they're trying to play the game as if he were a young quarterback or a Brock Osweiler.
From a physical skill set.
Yeah, not have to throw the ball as often. Always keep the game close where you're never, having to catch up from 14.
Unbelievable.
So keep it close, and he could win it in the last quarter.
That's what we're all talking about. That can Peyton keep up point for point with Cam Newton? It's really unbelievable.
He's got that great defense to keep it close.
Sure.
I like that analogy though with Cam, with Magic Johnson. Was that your idea?
Well, we've been talking about it a little bit this week.
And what Magic Johnson had, where's he from? Michigan State. Yeah, thank you. And so,
no, I got it.
So he had the big smile. He had the flair. He had the versatility. He could play point guard, could play center. He did everything, right? Mm-hmm. But he had the big smile. What Magic did, obviously, was win many championships, and his career, his body of work was over a long period of time. That's what Cam is just beginning that. Yes, he has the big smile. Yes, he has the flair, the versatility to be a runner and a passer. But this is just the beginning. He's got to end this season well, which I believe he will. I think he's going to be the MVP, don't you? And he's got to do it again next year. And then he's got to do it again. And he's got to show that he's got some staying power.
Let's do a quick Chris Command Center news update and get Steve's thoughts on a couple of other news items involved. Is this involving the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 50 news update from the Chris Command Center.
And now, Law and Brockman with the news.
We all know that Coldplay is the halftime entertainment for Super Bowl 50. The NFL announced yesterday, though, that Lady Gaga will be singing the national anthem. Now, prop bets are a big thing here on the Rich Eisen show, as we all know. The over-under for her time on the national anthem has been set at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Last year, the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem did it in 2:03. Mm-hmm. So what are we thinking here, Mooch? Over or under 2:20?
How does it vary that far, 2:03 to 2:20?
By the way, the NFL despises that particular prop bet.
Why?
I don't know. All I know is that the year Billy Joel was singing the national anthem in Miami, Billy Joel was in the NFL Network green room before the press conference, and the NFL went over to him through one of their top PR people. I was sitting there for this conversation. Billy, when you go up there, the one thing we just ask you don't do, if they ask you a question about how long your national anthem is going to be, just don't answer because people are going to be betting on it, and we would appreciate if you didn't do that. Billy Joel just nods his head, and like a New Yorker, like Billy Joel is, he goes up to the podium and he starts his press conference saying, I'm really excited to be here. singing the national anthem. I've been practicing, and I think it'll be about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, maybe about 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Right off the bat.
Oh, my God.
Billy frickin' Joel.
Oh, jeez.
What's your favorite Lady Gaga song, Steve?
I don't know, but I want to see Tony Bennett sing a duet with her. That's what I want to see.
Oh, there you go.
How come he didn't get invited
It's
to
San
do this
Francisco
thing?
for crying out.
Yeah, don't let the name
loud.
fool you. He's an Italian guy, all right?
He's Tony DiBenedetto. That's his name.
Yeah, he's awesome.
What do you got, Brockman? Because we've got Chris, we got Kurt Warner in the corner over
quick,
there. We can't put Kurt in the corner anymore.
Some late-breaking NHL news. Remember the hit Dennis Weidman had last week on the linesman? He's been officially suspended 20 games for hitting linesman Don Henderson last week.
Okay. What do you have, Law?
And we know JB Smoove was our Rich Eisen Show media night correspondent.
Yes. Do we have another piece of his work?
Well, we have 5 minutes up on the website, so go to richeisenshow.com to see that full piece. But he caught up with your counterpart at the Worldwide Leader.
Who? Berman?
Here's
the Swami? And Leon?
Here's JB Smoove.
Smoove and the Swami.
With Berman.
Okay.
I feel as though this year I should be in the show once in a while because I'm pretty good with predictions. I told everybody it would not be Seattle, it would not be the Patriots. It's going to be a Cinderella season. At the end of this game, who puts their foot in that glass slipper and limps their way off?
Well, if you're the prediction guy, I should ask you because the Swami, I'm still meeting the teams here, but I'm going to make a similar prediction to the one I've made before. You know what really would be a Cinderella story? Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo. They're due. They're due.
We'll see what happens. The Swami meets the Smoothie. We'll see what happens, brother.
That's why we play the game.
That's why we play the game.
Aloha.
My brother. Aloha, brother.
Aloha.
And nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo.
Wow, the Swami and
You do
Smoothie.
recall we had him meet up 2 years ago.
With Hank Azaria.
With Hank Azaria,
Jim
who was doing
Brockmire.
Jim Brockmire.
That didn't go as well.
He had no idea that he was doing a character and that it was Hank Azaria.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's take a break. Kurt Warner, come on out here, Kurt. We're going to have a show meeting. We'll have like a little game day morning show meeting right here. Here's Kurt Warner. Steve Mariucci, the man who always likes to make fun of his records going down. Good to see you, Kurt.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.